Good morning, dreamers and non-believers, and after making so many videos on indie horror, I thought I'd bring it back to my roots where this style of video all began and make a video about Pokemon. With Pokemon Legends ZA coming out sometime in 2025, I really wanted to talk about my favorite Pokemon game. You see, Pokemon has been a very formulaic game, even with the addition of Megas in Gen 6, and then their replacement of Z-moves in Gen 7, and then their replacement with Gigantamax. And well, you get the point. It's all still feeling the same of catching Pokemon, beating the gyms, beating the evil team, becoming champion. So when you hear of a game that does away with that and instead has the Pokemon just free roaming around, you can catch them outside of battle, you can farm items using your Pokemon so you can take them and craft more items you can use, well, you get the biggest departure in the franchise in a long time. And because of that, it creates a lot of buzz and hype around it. This game, of course, being called Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's been just a few months less than 3 years since this game was first released, and I still enjoy a lot. Let me start at the beginning. You see, the starters in this game are a bit odd. Even though the game takes place in the past of the Sinnoh region, it doesn't have the Sinnoh starters. Instead, it has starters from other games. So you got Cyndaquil from Johto, you have Rowlet from Alola, you have Oshawott from Unova. Typhlosion is now a fire ghost type. Decidueye is now a grass fighting type. And this is for those who know, Oshawott is a dark water type. You know how I said this game takes place in the past of the Sinnoh region being called Hisui? Well, the game literally opens up with Arceus sending you back in time. And the professor finds you on the ground. And Professor Lavington, who finds a strange boy who is seemingly alone, does what any rational person would do in this situation and inducts him into child labor, specifically into the Survey Corps. No, not that one, specifically the Galaxy Expedition Team, where your job is to catch Pokemon, research them, and chart the region as a whole. And that's about when he gives you your starter. You see, this game tries really hard to tell you, this ain't yo grandpa's Pokemon game. No, this is different. Your goals here are different. You see, there's other mechanics like you can use your Pokemon on rocks and on trees to get berries and apricots you can use to create Pokeballs and other stuff. You can also just generally do more things like dodge roll. You can dodge roll in this game, and if you're wondering why would you need a dodge roll in a Pokemon game, it's because of these Alpha Pokemon. Alpha Pokemon are larger than normal Pokemon who have increased combat capabilities. You can tell they're Alpha Pokemon because they're larger, have glowing red eyes, and listen to Andrew Tate and invest in crypto. And like any crypto investor, they will attack you if you get too close. And they can kill you, or I guess not kill you, but make you pass out and go back to camp. But either way, you lose stuff and you don't want it to happen. So you either get good at them dodge rolls and run, or you run the ones and scrap. Your choice. As you're exploring the first area, you find out this timey-wimey stuff is making some of the Pokemon go berserk. And these are called noble Pokemon, and these are going to be your boss battles through the game. And this is where the dodge rolls start to become more useful again, because you have to calm the Pokemon and then battle it. And you have to calm it by dodging their attacks, and then hitting them with these balls of I don't know. but you hit them in their face, calm them down, battle them, and you show them what's good. And as you do this, your rank in the galactic team becomes higher and higher, and you explore more and more of the Hisui region, taking down more noble Pokemon. You'll do this about 5 times. And after you do this, the leader of the galactic team you've been working for starts to become a D1 top class Twitter user because I refuse to call it X hater, and starts to blame you for all this timey-wimey, spacey-wacy stuff happening at the current moment. And because of that, he banishes you. He tells you to leave this joint. And so now you have to go out and find 3 mythical Pokemon that embody willpower, emotions, and knowledge to help you. They're called Azelf, Mirkspit, and Yusi. I don't know how to pronounce their names, and I probably said it wrong. Moving on. And so these Pokemon give you the material to create what is called the red chain, and you'll use this to stop whatever Pokemon you think is causing all this. And as you head up there to do this, the Team Galactic leader is in your way and is like, nah. And so you run the ones again and win this time. You see, whenever he kicked you from the curb, you had a choice. Do you go with Team Diamond and go with them, or you go with Team Pearl and go with them, and then they help you with your thing? Well, when you get to the top of the mountain, depending on who you go with, depends on who spawned. So it could be Dialga, or it could be Palkia. After you use the red chains on them, they break out, you defeat it, the other one appears anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you defeat both of them, and when you do, you start to seal the space-time rifts. As you've been doing main story mission, you've been getting these plates. So you have the bug plate, fire plate, fairy plate, all these other things. Well, after you do that mission, a recurring NPC that has been here the entire game but I have yet to mention, called Volo, tells you, you know what? Nah. And so him and Giratina jump you. They force you to scrap. They force you to run them ones. And after you beat them and catch every Pokemon in Hisui, I'm not joking, that's the last mission. It tells you just to catch all of them. You then fight God. That brief explanation cuts out a lot, and I do mean a lot, of story. Now, this game does feel amazing, really amazing to play. Like, the simple action of being able to catch Pokemon outside of battle means you're not having to watch a whole animation to catch a Wurmple. And I feel like I can't go over crafting without going over, and I feel like I shouldn't go over catching Pokemon until I talk about the crafting. You see, you can craft your normal Pokeballs like Pokeballs, Great Balls, Ultra Balls, but then you have 2 different kinds of new ones that come into this game. You have Heavy Balls, which can't be thrown as far but have a higher success rate on unsuspecting Pokemon, and then you have the Feather Ball, which are really good at catching nimble Pokemon and Pokemon that can fly, like Gyarados, because they fly farther and faster. And then not only do you have those 2, you have 2 upgrades of those balls. Not only that, you can craft a bunch of health items, revives, max revives, Poké Dolls, and a bunch of other things that can help you both outside and in battle. And talking about in battle, they now have battle styles. You see, after you use a move enough time, you gain 2 more options of how to use that move. You can use it strong style or agile style. Strong style will allow you to do more damage and boost its effect, but your turn order will be reduced. And if you use the agile style, well, it's gonna make the move weaker, but make your Pokemon quicker and boost your turn order. Because as you can see on the side of the screen, it shows you what order each Pokemon moves in. And I haven't even started talking about the mounts in the game. You see, you get mounts in the game kind of like you got mounts in the Sun and Moon games. You unlock them slowly throughout the game. So in the first area, you unlock a Weirdeer, who you can ride like a horse. But then you also obtain a Ursaluna, who can help you find items in the ground. You also unlock a Basket Legion, which is your obligatory water mount. You unlock, I almost said Sneasel. Sneasler, who can just climb vertically up walls. And then you have a Braviary, who is, if you can't tell, fly as fuck. And then finally, you have one of the best and most infuriating part of the game, the space-time distortion rifts. These things randomly appear in the area you're in. It has a chance of appearing every 5 minutes, or 20 minutes or an hour, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know which one it is because I've spent a lot of time just waiting for one to happen. Hence why it being one of the worst mechanics in the game, but it's also one of the best because when it does happen, you get a bunch of powerful and rare Pokemon that just spawn in, like Magnemite. Magnemite is exclusive to these rifts in one area of the game. But then you also have like Magmar, Electabuzz. You have some of the evolutions that are region specific of the region in these rifts if you don't want to evolve your Eevee the normal way. But not only that, you do want to go in not just for the Pokemon, but on the ground, good items spawn in that you can sell for a high price, use them in crafting recipes, or use them in crafting recipes to sell for a high price. Now, how does all of that relate to this game being the best thing since sliced bread? Let me tell you, it really feels like they were trying to distinguish this game from the rest of the franchise. Because as a longtime Pokemon fan, having the same gameplay loop with the only difference being a shiny new feature that they abandoned after only one generation got me feeling some type of way. I mean, I'd be hating on entire different franchises for doing the exact same thing. Because after beating the 80th gym, after becoming champion over and over and over again with no one to really stand in your way, with a storyline plot that's paper thin, it all starts to become meaningless, man. And that's why this is my favorite game. It's not afraid to be different, while still taking good parts of other games, like free roaming Pokemon from Sword and Shield, or how they handled Pokemon mounts like in Sun and Moon. It's not afraid to create its own road in this franchise, and I love it for that. I love how they handled the game. It's the first Pokemon game in quite a long time where I actually cared about the plot and where it was going. Because like, yeah, Sword and Shield, yeah, I kind of care about the plot, but at the end of the day, we're gonna win and it's gonna be kumbaya. But when this game released, man, I didn't want it to be over. I was sitting there in front of Arceus, the last boss battle of the game. I've caught all the Pokemon this region has to offer, and I'm standing face to face with God, ready to take him down, catch him, and move on with my life. And I didn't want it to end. I didn't want this adventure to end. But I had to. I had to say goodbye. I had to finish the game. And so when I say I'm hyped for Legends EA, I don't want a carbon copy of Legends Arceus. That's not what I want. I want this new game to be just that. New. Good night.